This is the video review for Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Warpath. Finally picked them up at Target. The Target I went to actually had a ton of stuff. And you know what made me mad is the fact that the Target I went to has and still has a lot of Generations figures, all the newer ones too. The newest waves. But the problem is, that Target's within like 10-15 minutes from here, from my house, which one of my relatives lives near, and the one that lives 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, the Target within 5 minutes from here is so obsessed with Dark of the Moon that they completely cut out all the Generations shelf. There'll be like one Generations toy out of like a billion Dark of the Moon toys occasionally, so I've had to go. I've assumed I have to go get my Generations fix at the other Target. So, enough about my little stupid rant here. Here is Warpath. I finally got around to picking him up. There was a few other things that, because I knew this Target was going to always restock and be up to date with Warpath and all that I kind of put a few things ahead of him. And I finally get around to getting Warpath today. And I don't know why I put other things ahead of him. He is an amazing, amazing figure, and I cannot stress that enough. Deluxe figure, $11. I would definitely pay, up to $40 for the leader class, if it would be this exact same figure but leader class size, because this figure is just flat amazing. One of the best deluxes I've gotten in a long time. He has 4 of those 5-inch clip points. One what's going to be the arm and one what's going to be the leg, and then they have obviously that on each side. He's got his little cannon here, and then he's got his little missile launcher there, and he's got his big missile there, or his big cannon there, and then you can see he's got an Autobot symbol there. Come on, zoom in for me. And then he's got the Kapow there, K4-90W, for his Kapow, wham, boom, bam, the Warpath, stuff. Ever since I got this guy about 4 or 5 hours ago, to me recording this video, I've found myself saying that about 6-7 times. He doesn't have any articulation, obviously, because he's a tank in tank mode, other than the fact he can rotate his turret around, and he can rotate the actual gun up. So, he has silver treads, but he has the little red wheels for it to move, obviously, because they're not plastic movable treads. He's a nice mixture of red, 2 different types of gray, like a darker gray here and a lighter gray, which you'll see more about. Bits of silver paint here and there, and red. And he's got some black here and there, like the black paint. So, to transform him, it's not difficult at all, and it doesn't take you long at all. So, the first thing that you want to do is you want to unpeg the top, and you want to unpeg this piece here, which will become the waist and the legs. You just want to fold that down. The legs will separate most likely on the way down. You want to do that. Then, what's going to be the legs are tabbed in there. You want to untab them, fold them down, and then they tab into this tab here, and then the lower area here tab into this big piece here. So it's kind of a double tab, and then it holds in very nice and tightly. Do the same thing with the other leg. It snaps in. You want to articulate, or not articulate, you want to get the feet very nice there. Then you want to come up here, and you want to come back here, and to make this part easier on the camera, I'm going to actually fold his guns up, which I do that normally, but later. Then you want to fold his guns up like that. Then you want to take this piece here, and you want to fold it out on both sides like that. Then you just want to fold this piece down. Then you want to just take that and then fold the hand out, and then you want to close that back up. Do the same thing on this side. Close the hand up. And there you have most of it. Then you want to take this piece here and actually fold that down. Then you want to take this big piece here, and there's a little tab hole, there's a little peg hole in there and a tab there, and then snap that into place at the waist there. Then you want to lift this up, and it's kind of it's not an epic head reveal, but it is a head reveal. Just like on the Legends Universe Warpath, you push the turret in, and his head comes out, because then you can see the turret. Then you can see the turret is in there, the back part of the turret. And with that, you have your completely transformed Generations Warpath. You know, this is honestly one of the better figures that I have seen Hasbro create in a long time. And what a better thing about it is the quality control in this figure. I have not heard any really quality control issues with this figure. With as bad as Hasbro's quality control has been recently, especially with the newly released Toys R Us exclusive masterpiece Rodimus, I've heard a ton of quality control issues about that. And, you know, what's so good about this figure is, you know, the joints aren't really, you know, extremely tight, which I like, yet they're not loose. When I first opened it up, this knee was a lot looser than this knee, and it's still a little bit, but it's not really, you know, anything to worry about. You know, very cool. Then you can see his head there. Let me, if it'll focus. Come on, camera, focus. There you go. And as you can see, now it's going to focus in even further. There we go. He's got paint apps if it wants to focus in this close. I don't know if it will. Yeah, I don't think it can focus in this close. But he's got like golden or silverish paint apps on the sides of his face there. He's got, you know, the red faceplate. It looks like he was started to be designed to have light piping, but it was just blocked out. And then they put solid plastic over it. He's got, you know, some black pieces here. He's got the black hands. They're not black, they're more of a charcoal color. Then, you know what surprises me is that's the only kind of charcoal that they have on the figure. It's darker than this kind of gray, but it's not, you know, this is darker than this, but it's not like as dark as this. So I really like the mishmash of colors on this figure. He's got the silver down here, you know, on the treads on his elbows. He's got the gold that's on the side of his face, on little pieces on his waist there, on his shoulders. You know, this is one of the few figures that we have gotten in a while that really the detail is there, but it's also, there's paint on the detail. There's always been so many figures recently that the paint, or not the paint, but the detail has been there. It blends in because it's just into the plastic. There's no paint, there's no nothing on it. So articulation-wise, he's very articulated. You can rotate the arms a full 360 degrees. You can rotate him out like that. You can rotate him 360 degrees at the elbow, and then obviously he can fold in like that. The hands can just fold up, or, you know, lift up due to the transformation. The head can be rotated full 360 degrees, and it can go back due to the transformation a little bit. No waist articulation because of how he is transformed, because of how the piece comes down and pegs into his chest. Or pegs into his waist, so there's no waist articulation. The legs are on ball joints, although they are probably the tightest joints on all the figure. You know, they can rotate, you know, forward and back, side to side. You can bend them at the knee, then you can bend the foot actually forward due to the transformation. And then you can rotate them at the upper thigh area. He's got a thigh swivel. Other than that, you know, no really other articulation, but he's great figure. You know, and my main worry was about it, since Warpath, you know, did not have feet, what his biggest problem was, like, how he was going to be able to stand, because they, you know, and they kind of fixed that, they kind of evaded that issue on the Legends Warpath from Universe, I believe, yeah, Universe 2.0, because they gave him actual bits, you know, kinds of a little bit of a foot, to avoid that, you know, but it kind of made it less accurate, so, yeah, and as you can see, since there's no real, everything kind of, you know, since he's a tank and he looks like a tank in robot mode, it was quite probably easy for Hasbro to mold the parts of the tank into the actual figure. What makes this figure so good is that you can even see on the back of on the legs here that you don't even really look at. There's a lot of detail, and it is noticeable. You know, there's detail on the back. There's detail on the back of the arms that's different on both arms. You know, there's detail here. There's extra detail inside of this piece. You know, like if you're gonna lift the piece up, it's like the hatch. It's like the hatch if you're gonna come out of a tank. You know, it's got the detail left and right, and you know, it's noticeable. And then there's some with paint on it. It's a very, you know, I think it's just an absolute perfect figure. You know, obviously the only hinder to it is the waist articulation. But other than that, honestly, if you ask me, this is probably the closest to a perfect figure we have gotten in a long time. Perfectly, you know, sized. You know, I do not have any guys to show him off with right now, but, you know, honestly, this is an extremely accurate Generation 1 Warpath. And it is a great figure, and I honestly cannot go on and on about this figure enough. I absolutely love it. You know, I don't find any flaws with it at all because I can deal without waist articulation. I'm not a huge, oh my god, I need to pose this. I'm an articulation, you know, I need all this articulation to pull off these great poses kind of guy. From the minute I heard that we were getting a Generations Warpath, which I even wasn't really into collecting much at that point, I was in a collection drought almost, you know, I was still excited about it, you know, and you know the last Generation 1, you know, Generations figure I was really excited about that was a new mold was Cup, and I was kind of disappointed with him because of his bulkiness and the fact that his, you know, his form, he kind of looks a bit unfinished, but you know, I was kind of a little bit hesitant to really crack on Warpath, you know. But man, I'm glad I really decided to go ahead and get him. Warpath is an amazing figure, and I absolutely love him. So, guys, if you don't get him or you do not decide to get him, I don't know what the heck is wrong with you. So, that's all. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's all I gotta say. So, he'll you know, once you get him, he'll wham, boom, bam as himself into the top of your charts. So, there you guys have it. Generations Warpath.